So, we're talking about budgeting. First off, somebody tell me, who in here has a job? Does anybody have a job in here? Okay, so you have a little bit of income coming in, all that good stuff. All right. A budget is an itemized summary of the expected income and expenses for a defined period of time, typically 1 month. Who knows what an expense is? Yes, Jenna. Stuff you spend money on. Okay? But has anybody heard the difference between a fixed expense or a variable expense? Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's things that you know, you just probably didn't know what they were labeled. Okay? But a budget, everybody in here at some point in time, hopefully everybody has a job and makes plenty of money one day. All right? But you'll need to have a budget. Okay? Something to go by on how you spend your money. All right? It shows the amount of income brought in versus the amount of money spent. Should you be spending more money than you have coming in? No. All right? You should not. Hopefully everybody brings in a lot more money than they ever get to spend. Okay? But that's not always logical. It's not always realistic. All right? Rourke, you okay over there, buddy? All right? Okay. Relies on balance. Spending less in one area means more can be spent in another or create a savings plan. Okay, we'll go more in depth on that later, but we will hit savings as well. Okay, creating a monthly budget, gathering financial statements, bank statements, investment accounts, utility bills, loan payments, any information regarding income or expenses. Okay, the goal of the budget is to make sure you don't spend more money than you bring in, okay? Because then we get into all kinds of trouble, might have to file for bankruptcy, whatever it may be. We want to make sure that we have enough money, okay, to spend on things that we need, like housing, power bill, water bill, okay? Nowadays, you guys would have to pay for a phone because you can't make it in life without one, okay? All right? Things like that. Okay, here's some of the steps you can do. Record all sources of income, include any source of income, take-home pay or net income for this number. So you guys already know if your salary is $50,000 a year, are you bringing home $50,000 a year? No. Okay. Taxes are coming out. If you pay into retirement, it's coming out. You have all these things that come out of that take-home pay. All right. So what you bring home isn't exactly what you make, okay? But whenever you're creating your budget, you create it off what you're bringing home. So if I really make $5,000 a month, I may only bring home $4,200 or $3,800, whatever it may be. Okay, use that number. All right. The next thing to do is create a list of monthly expenses. Okay, what you're going to have to pay for. All right. Create a list, and then break them into fixed and variable expenses. Okay, fixed expenses are those which stay relatively the same from month to month and are required. Most of the time, your mortgage or rent is going to stay the same every month. All right, a car payment is going to stay the same. Okay, I don't know why they put utilities in fixed expenses. You can get it to where where your utilities stay the same, but they don't always, okay? And then an example of a variable expense, they change from month to month. So eating out, you may eat out 1 month more than you do the other, okay? You may go on vacation 1 month. That's different from others, okay? And then clothing. You may go on a shopping spree 1 month and may not another, all right? Here's just an example of an expenses list. They have, in their fixed expenses, mortgage, rent, power bill, gas, water, sewer, garbage, internet, and car insurance. Okay, then their variable expenses, groceries, restaurants, personal care, laundry, dry cleaning, and gas, as in fuel. All right, we know how that changes pretty drastically, or can. Okay. is greater than the expenses, money will be left in the budget, which can be saved for the future, or you can spend it on something that we would consider a want instead of a need. All right? Depending on the amount, a person may want to create a savings plan for college, retirement, or allocate those resources to pay off other debts. If expenses are greater than income, adjustments will need to be made to expenses. All right? If you're spending more money than you're bringing in, it's not a good thing. We got to make a change. Adjusting expenses, ideally, the income column would be greater than the expense column. Sometimes it doesn't happen. All right? If it's greater than the income column, expenses will need to be adjusted. There's ways you can do that. Okay, variable expenses are normally the first place to look at. Maybe you're spending too much eating out. Maybe you're using too much gas, driving too much, whatever it may be. But that's the first place to look when you're trying to figure out a way to lower your expenses. Okay, then you can go to fixed expenses. Maybe you're living in a house that you need to downsize. Maybe you're paying too much in rent. Whatever it may be. Maybe you're driving too nice of a car. Maybe you need to get a new car. Okay, that's the first thing I see a lot of people do, especially that first job they get. Man, they want to go buy a brand new car. Okay, all right, and then they don't think about, oh, I got to pay for this thing every month. All right, and it's pretty, depending on what kind of car, it can be a pretty big chunk of your monthly income. All right, here's what they did when they adjusted their expenses. They cut down their groceries, restaurant care, okay, and then they added savings and emergency fund. Reviewing the budget, I would make sure to review it often. Me and my wife, we make a budget. We normally review it every few months or so, especially if one of us gets a promotion or a raise, or we just had a baby, so obviously the budget's going to change a little bit. Have to put daycare and all that stuff in there. All right. But make sure you review it and adjust it where it's needed. Okay, here's some questions to ask when reviewing a budget. Did I calculate my income correctly? Are my expense figures accurate? Are everyone's income and expenses accounted for? Is my plan based on actual numbers or what I hope I can earn or spend? Did I give it a fair chance? Okay, because I've been there before, especially right when I first started working. I made a budget, and then about 2 weeks in, I'm like, I'm spending more than this. I want to save $500 this month. No, I think I'm gonna go do something this weekend, spend that money. It's hard to kind of stay on task with it, so that's what it means by did I give it a fair chance? And do I need professional advice? If for some reason you have trouble and you're always spending more money than you make, there are people that you can go see a financial advisor. They can put a plan in place to help you not do that. Okay? All right, that's all we're going to talk about today on the slides, but here's what I want you to do. In Google Classroom, there's an assignment called Making a Budget. Okay? All right? There are directions. I'm giving you, your income is $5,000 a month, I believe. No, it's $3,000 a month. Okay, $3,000 a month. What I want you to do is write a list of expenses, okay, that you think you would have. All right? I'm going to give you guys about 10 minutes to do that, and then we will talk about it together. I'll let you guys give me some of the expenses that you wrote down, and put a dollar amount beside it, okay? And then we'll see kind of how we all create one budget and see if we go over or not. All right, anybody have any questions? Good with that? Okay.